Yo guys, welcome back. Slater here with a new video about Game of Thrones Kingsroad. Let's see my assassin build, which I currently use. First, I will show you guys how to use it in the last stage of the normal worm walks. As you see, I unequipped my jewelries, so I have less attack power. You start the wormwalk stage with 0 rage, so I always use a powder to get rage at the start. As you see, I always use evasion attacks instead of light attacks to start my strike combo 1. This way I can get back more rage and I can get iframes. You can use evasion attacks by pressing the space and right click after, so don't even need to use the left click and don't need to concentrate on the combos that much. And the beauty of this build with the broken sword, my cooldowns is so low, so I can even use 2 kicks while the drought lasts. And finishing bosses with this is like a walk in the park. But don't waste more time, let's see the build already. As I mentioned, I use the broken sword for every content and not just the wormbox. It gives attack power and critical hit damage increase rate, while also giving active skill damage and decrease the cooldowns of the active skills and give rage consumption reduction, so we can spam our skills more. And it also gives more critical strike damage and active skill damage if you enhance it further. So damage wise it's not worse than the ruby, and you can spam your skills almost 2 times faster than with the ruby. And don't forget to mention that the broken sword is a religion type artifact which use the religion wax. While our main active artifact, the axe, is a legendary type artifact which uses the legendary wax, and they are different type of wax, so you can upgrade both of them simultaneously, while the ruby and the dark sister is using the same legendary type of wax as the axe. So if you are a free-to-play player or just started the game and don't want to spend too much, you won't be able to upgrade the axe and the ruby both at the same time. It will take you at least twice as much time as you upgrade the ruby and the broken sword. This is why I advise you guys to max these 2 artifacts out first. For my main gear, I use a 6-piece brute set for now, because it works better with the broken sword. But if you are struggling with the survivability, you can try to use Savant instead. It will be a little bit lower on damage, but better in survivability. And if you already made yourself brute weapons, you can still use a 3-piece Savant and 3-piece brute combination for the survivability. Your damage will be a little bit lower than with a 6-piece set, but your survivability will be better and you will be able to beat the story bosses and wormwalks more easily with it. But this way you can only use the champion as a secondary set, which is still the best for longer content but not too efficient for the record runs. So for the longer content, like the dragon fight or beating wormwalks or the story bosses, maybe even the hideouts, I always use the champion secondary set with the brute main set, because we have time to stack the champion set effect. But in record runs, when you aim for the best time in dungeons or the Kraken fight and you don't have time to stack fully the champion effect, I always use the Savant for the highest possible damage. For the skills, I really like to use Ambush Plus these days, because it helps to stack my broken sword faster. As you can see, the active artifact works like a skill, so it gives you 1 stack, poison another, and the 2 poison gives you the full 4 stack before you use your active skills, and you can use your kick with max stacks immediately at the start of the fight. It's not a must, but it definitely helps, especially in the Wormbox stages. So in content where I only face one enemies, it could be anything like dungeons or story bosses or the Kraken raid, ferocious beasts or Drogon, I use this build. Turning Kick Plus with the Skull Bash, it is the most important for every build. Ambush Plus with the Weaken effect, which is pretty important as well, and Poison without the plus, but the stacking poison, which is important too. With this combo we can maximize our stacks as fast as possible and can maximize the damage of our kick. In content where I face multiple enemies, I like to use Poison Plus, even if I have to sacrifice my Weaken effect on Ambush, so the AoE damage and the stacks of the Poison Plus can kill the lower enemies faster. I usually use this build for the Wormbox stages or the hideouts. And for the Beyond the Wall expedition, where I have to use fire against the wights, or in some early Wormbox stages, I use the Ignite Plus instead of the Ambush Plus. These are the skill combinations which I usually use. For the basic skills, as I mentioned earlier, I used the Strike Combo 1. And because of the Broken Sword, we don't rely on the Bloodburst stacks, so I use this one to boost my damage against the poisoned enemies. Of course, I use this one to get back more rage, because we spam our skills more frequent, and this is why I use this one as well. It's only work if there is multiple enemies, but the other one from the level 9 is the same. You can use this one for the seasonal Infinity Wormbox if you don't have problem with rage, but you have to use the full left side if you want to use that. For the traits, always max out your attack power increase rate and critical hit rate first. For this build, I went for the boss damage after and the rest for the critical strike damage rate. And in this section I picked this trait because the Broken Sword isn't provide any critical strike rate, so it's better and more consistent in longer fights instead of a couple active skill damage. Even if the max damage is a little bit lower with it, it's not much. Support tree, just the usual throwing dagger, crafting and a little bit extra rage. This was the build, guys. Let's see again how it works, but now against the strongest world boss. I also lowered my stats as for the Wormbox. If you time it right, you can also use 2 kicks while the drought lasts, so you can get higher damage. As you see, it works pretty well, almost got the first spot even with nerfed stats. But if you are on the same level as the others and have the same attack power, or a little bit higher even, you can easily win by miles with this build. So this is the build or builds that I use recently. I hope you guys enjoyed it and I was able to help you with this video. If you have any questions left, let me know about it in the comment section, and don't forget to put a like and subscribe for more Game of Thrones Kingsroad content. Have a wonderful day and peace.